You know, I was gonna do a bit where I've rolled a D&D dice because we'll talk about the D&D movie today. But no. You know what? No, we're not doing that today because you want to something, yo. I was about to cancel this podcast. Do you want to know why?
Oh boy, why?
Because it. Do you know of the name? But the gods have sent him down from heavens himself of the name Chaos X.
Is this some kind of Sonic community?
Fuck
thing
yes,
that
it is. So Chaos X is a
I'm involved?
main developer of Project 06, which is a remaster of Sonic 2006. And I've always said that Sonic 06 has always had potential to be amazing, and Chaos X took that potential and fucking shot out of the park. And now the silver release is finally out. I was so excited to play it. But by the time I was done downloading, we had like 20 minutes left. I was like, fuck, if I start playing now, I'm not going to stop. So let me restrain myself. So you are so lucky. You are so lucky. And I was so ready too. But
Well, isn't Sonic 06 like the one that basically killed?
No. Listen. This isn't Sonic 06. This is Project 06.
Massive cope going on,
which is a remaster of Sonic 06 that brings all of the potential that the Sonic fans have been saying that this game has and fucking nails it. The only thing that actually needs to be improved, is the story, because he only covers the gameplay because he's a game developer, right? So he only covers the gameplay and the levels. Like, he doesn't do like any of the actual cutscenes, but he does all the levels and bosses, right? And
wasn't it like super
shit.
buggy? Wasn't the original super buggy?
It was more than just it was more than just the fact that it was buggy. It was the fact that it had terrible level designs, no sense in control, too many different play styles. But Chaos X fucking nails it all. He fixes, like, the controls are so much tighter, the playstyles are more consistent, and the level designs fucking slap. He keeps a semblance of the original level designs, because some level designs were okay, some level design was good, but then he improves upon it so much, and oh my god, I was ready to cancel this podcast in a heartbeat. But anyways, welcome back to Cabbage Radio Hub. I'm your Sonic fan, Cabbage, and joining me today is the person who has to listen to all of my Sonic rants, Zero to Hero.
It's okay, Sonic trash anyway.
Sonic is, you know what? You know what? I'm glad I paid $60 for you to play Sonic Frontiers.
For visual and for those who are watching the podcast and listening, because there's no other way to see or listen to this, I just took a victory sip of my Dr. Pepper cream soda.
God, you are. I don't know how I feel about that, but anyways, welcome back. And
it's been a while.
It's been a while. We missed a lot. My upload schedule is inconsistent as always, so there's that. But yeah, there's been kind of a lot of pretty fucking good things, but honestly, a lot of spicy things has happened lately. First of all, I think it was last week we had the Star Wars celebration, right?
Yeah, we did, and I heard that was a fun time.
I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised that we even got Star Wars celebration, because isn't it usually in May?
I don't know, but I do know that Star Wars Visions is dropping in May.
Fuck yeah, dude!
Season 2, baby, let's go.
I need like whole long form TV shows using any of the animators that has worked on Visions, because holy shit,
they've cracked the code where they realized, okay, we have this IP. There's a bunch of animation studios out there because the IP is one of the biggest in the world. Let's just outsource to these animation studios, let them cook up whatever the hell they want to cook up, because again, the IP is giant, even though like apparently there's only one time period and a couple planets in the galaxy as far as like the movies and shit are concerned.
It's okay, that's unless why Andor is better.
unless you're the Chad Andor.
Or Clone
doesn't
Wars.
Even
Clone Wars.
it doesn't even once go back to Tatooine.
You know,
Chad
and Clone Wars, I guess. Clone Wars is also good.
Like Clone Wars is pretty good. Rebels is fun.
I have not watched Rebels. I've only seen Ahsoka and Darth Maul clips, and honestly, I feel like that's the only thing I need to see.
That is completely fair. That is completely fair. But like, yeah, I like what they're doing with Visions is straight up what Marvel should have done with What If, where they should have just outsourced to a bunch of stuff. Because the best part of Visions is it is Legends. Like Visions is just whatever Legends they want to write and make into the Star Wars world, they can, because Star Wars is a big ass galaxy and they have fun that they could do. And like same thing goes for like Marvel with the What If stuff if they wanted to, because for some reason they decided we're only going to do What Ifs based off of the MCU stuff, even though, you know, we have rights to all of our characters in animation.
Yeah. So
we're only going to do the MCU stuff and do one art style, which admit like it's a fine art style. I just like get more animation studios cooking. Do what Visions did, and now we have more coming, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait. Good. I especially love how Visions just kind of just heightens the idea that Star Wars is a war set in space that is infinite.
Like in a big ass galaxy. Like
it even says in a galaxy far, far away in every single opening crawl. Like Star Wars is so much bigger than like a couple planets. Andor has proven this. Just do more interesting things with Star Wars.
Fallen Orders proved this. We go back to like
exactly. Fallen Order. Yeah.
Area, even when we go back to old planets, we get to see them. We get to see new areas. We get to see new parts of it. It's all cool. And now we got Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, Survivor, dude.
Coruscant, which like, dude. Okay, did you see the? There's like a post that came out. The file size for Fallen.
I think it was like what, like 160. I think
115 or
115. Yeah, I know. I know the Series S is like only 40 gigabytes, which, by the way, it's probably gonna be like 2 pixels.
Dude, when I download that thing on my PS5, I'm probably gonna have to uninstall like 6 different games to be able to play it. And it's gonna be worth it. Like,
yeah, no, that game looks so amazing. Like, I really love customizable Cal. You get to make it look so much better.
Cal went from "Yes, sir, I'll have her home by 10 o'clock" to "She calls me daddy too" in the span of 5 years. All right, this man.
Yeah. Woo! I cannot believe how much of a daddy you can make Cal look. It is fucking amazing. They knew. You think they knew? You think they knew that people actually considered Cal hot? So it's like, well, let's give players so many other options to make Cal as hot as they want him to be.
True. And we love it. I also love that they gave us a bunch of hairstyles. Like, if we want to make Cal look like a hick, we can. Which is like so fun.
That is way too accurate to, fall under what a Cal.
Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, the combat is even so much better. I'm really excited for this game.
Oh god.
I think I think they even brought back Seethe, right, for the story.
They cut her they cut her hair off, which I'm fine. Her weave's gone. It's okay. the one thing I will say, this is gonna come off like really off color.
Oh no! Oh, you better choose your words very carefully, otherwise Twitter will get on your ass.
Her eyes are like kind of buggy. Like the actress's eyes. They pop. And I always thought it in the original game, but I actually like it. That's really it. That's all I have to say. It was just it took me a second. And I was like, okay,
you saved yourself a little bit.
Well, but she's bald, and I think she has like tattoos now, like forced tattoos.
Right. Yeah, I do like how every character looks a little bit older than in the first game, but I've always loved time skips. Time skips are such a fun way to progress your story. It's great.
dude, I enjoy them, especially when they're done well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Speaking of time skips, have you heard of the new Star Wars franchise movies?
Yeah, the one announced to follow Rey.
Yeah,
that everyone
and like 5 or 6 years later, was it like 10 years later? I think.
I have no idea. I just remember seeing a leaked fake picture of a pregnant Rey standing.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
I was like, they literally just took Padme.
Yeah, I feel like that's like so photoshopped.
It is. It's not real at all. One thing I think was really funny though from Star Wars Celebration was the amount of people trying to like some people edited when Kathleen Kennedy was like announced on stage and like being booed or silenced, and someone posted like, look at her getting absolute silence when she walks on stage in Star Wars Celebration, and someone underneath was like, bro, I was there, this is false. Like, people were fine.
God, look, I know Kathleen Kennedy isn't like the best owner of Star Wars. Well, she has made a lot of good decisions, but really a lot of bad decisions, and a lot of it involves Kenobi, which I'm still upset about, but we're moving on. But I mean, like, come on, there's no reason for that shit.
Look, she gave us Andor, all right?
Yeah, Andor, and forgiven for Andor.
We got the best Star Wars piece of media out there, period. Like, sorry,
exactly.
not sorry.
Andor is more consistent than Clone Wars. Like, Clone Wars at its high to best, like, meets Andor, I think. But the couple seasons of Clone Wars take a while before they actually start getting good.
It's more, there's like it needed to get off the ground.
A little bit, especially with Ahsoka. Like, oh my god.
Well, yeah, and that's the character arc part. It's like,
yeah,
ooh. Like the one thing that's really fun, that I always enjoy like explaining to people is, look, like a good 25 to 30% of Clone Wars is kind of bad.
Yeah, that's the part that people don't want to admit, because Clone Wars like put on such a high pedestal for good reasons, but people just kind of forget about the bad stuff of Clone Wars.
Thing is, like, even when Clone Wars is bad, I think like there's only one arc of episodes that I would say is like infuriating bad. The rest of it has kind of a charm.
Is that the droid arc? Yes. I figured everyone kind of hates the droid arc, and honestly, I kind of do too. The only saving grace from it is fucking, what was his name, the clone that worked at that. Yeah. He was the only saving grace.
The thing is, like, not even R2 is entertaining in that, and R2 is normally entertaining.
Yeah,
like that's the shame part. Like, that it's just, what's even funnier though is that I think Lucas has gone on record saying that arc is like his favorite.
Yes,
and I'm like, no, don't do
George, it. Don't do it, George. God,
but he finds something happy and something to enjoy in it. So you know what? Hey, if he says it feels like, I think he said it feels like the most Star Wars to him, and you know what? I can get behind him when he says that.
Right? Yeah, but even so, like I do enjoy a time skip for the next Star Wars franchise, because I think not the franchise, but next like saga, because I do kind of feel like it needs it, and I really hope, I know it's probably not gonna happen, but I really hope they revise a lot of things that Rise of Skywalker just kind of fucked up on, or The Last Jedi did, specifically with Finn. But the only reason I don't think that'll happen is because I don't know if John Boyega is willing to come back to Star Wars.
Oh no, I don't think he's coming back for to work with Disney for a bit.
Definitely not. Like they fucking treated him like shit.
It's even funnier because a lot of people don't consider that as well when they've been fan casting him as as recasting Kang the Conqueror.
No, he is not someone who is happy with Disney.
For anyone who doesn't know, Jonathan Majors.
Oh dear God, that is a whole rabbit hole. You're going down to.
I'll summarize it very quickly. there has never been a man I've witnessed, or woman I've witnessed, or anyone I've witnessed have such a quick rise and then star-shatteringly fast fall.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just like,
go look it up for yourself. We're not experts on the topic.
yeah, no,
All
definitely
we know
not.
is all we know in terms of like the broad strokes. Some shit went down. He was arrested. The defense came out. There was a lot of stuff that happened there, and then most recently, the PR team and his agent that he was working with just dropped him.
Yeah,
so,
it's like Jonathan Major, like in the acting industry, it's basically like if you're a small YouTuber and then you get like 2 subscribers and it just shoots up, but then like the next 28 days passes, it's like phew.
For real, like it's bad, and yeah. So that's
just go look on Twitter. Twitter's more educated than us.
Don't go to Twitter. Look it up on Google.
I'm kidding.
Look it up on.
Yeah, Google's more reliable, definitely.
But it's a shit show.
But yeah, no, I do really hope that Finn as a character comes back, because Finn as a character got shafted so badly after episode 7. So I think that seeing Rey trying to rebuild the Jedi Order is kind of both a good and bad thing. It's a good thing because it at least makes sense, right? It at least makes sense that he would do this, and it's also good because there's potential for Finn as the character to like hone into his force powers a little more. But it's also a bad thing because I think that we might need a little more than trying to go back to the Jedi, you know?
Okay, here's my take on this. I think it's too soon for another set of movies.
When did The Last Jedi come out? 2019?
No, The Rise of Skywalker.
No, Rise of Skywalker, yeah.
I know it feels like it was just The Last Jedi because nobody talks about The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker was 2019?
Yes.
When was there like confirmation of when the next set was coming out?
Well, so I would much rather, if we're going to be getting Star Wars movies, I would much rather we be getting like single one-off projects.
Right. Look, Kenobi's downfall has proven that that's something that's not going to happen.
I would actually say it was more Solo flopping because that was, which I am still bitter about that.
Yeah,
because Solo is a lot of damn fun. It is so much fun to watch. Right. And I would have loved to see Alden Ehrenreich in more. Just like a bunch of little anthology bits about Han Solo going around and smuggling would have been a lot of fun.
Right.
But I digress. I think that if they want to tell these characters' stories, I think that they should be going for the TV side rather than trying to make a whole new movie trilogy, because it's too soon in the meta sense. Like, we have, like, Star Wars is a huge cultural selling point. It's always going to be around.
Right.
And so I think, like, if you look at it, I think about 20 years, like, we have 20 years between the OT and the prequels, and then only like maybe it was like 10 or 12 years between.
It was around like 10 years, I think. 14?
Because it was 2015.
I feel like around 14.
Episode 3 was like 2008, wasn't it? No, not 2008.
2006? I don't know, actually.
Let me just pull it up. Okay, it was 2005, and so it was only 10 years. Like, it was 2005 to 2015. There's only 10 years between. And I think it just came a bit too soon, because Star Wars is always healthy, and I think TV shows are much better suited for the IP, because you could just go around and do whatever. Like, TV and games is where it lives, and then
definitely.
That 20-year time between the movies allows both it allows for both, the fans of the other trilogies to kind of build up, and you get, you finally get more people going, oh, hey, maybe like when can we get another Star Wars movie that I could take my kids to and like share it around. And that could be a really neat thing. I just like now at this point, we're only like 5 years maybe away from the sequel trilogy, and now we're getting another trilogy.
Yeah. I can see why it's a little too soon, but I mean at the same time I'm gonna say it now. I kind of want the sequel trilogy to have a bit of a redemption, because honestly, as much as I really despise a lot of things made in the sequel trilogy, that was a product of just poor planning and poor management from all sides on end, and I kind of have a little bit of sympathy for the sequel trilogy, because I think
do too. Like it's the biggest product of, we wanted to like they wanted to profit off of it as quickly as they could. And because the Disney buyout was in like 2009 or something, I think
it was around that time.
When did Disney buy Star Wars? No, because 2009 was Marvel. They bought Star Wars in 2012, and then 3 years later we got The Force Awakens, which is a pretty like, the thing is, that's a pretty standard like movie production cycle, or at least it's a bit longer like it probably actually took 2 years. They just probably for like actual production.
Right.
They probably were like, okay, we got this. Now let's, there's a year period of finishing up whatever other projects that were happening before. And then, okay, now we can get in and start making our own stuff. Cause I think Clone Wars ended actually like,
wasn't around like 2020, I believe.
No, that was, so it was canceled.
Well, yeah, I know it was canceled, but I mean like season 7.
Yeah, so Clone Wars was canceled actually back in 2012.
Yeah, okay.
When they bought it, so that was the thing. And then 2020 was when we got they finished up the last season and released it on Netflix.
Okay.
And then because right after Rebels started in 2014, I think.
I'm pretty sure.
Did Rebels? Let me just. Yeah, Rebels was 2014.
Okay.
So they canceled Clone Wars in 2012 to start production going on Rebels, and you have your movie trilogy being made at the same time, or at least you have the first movie of your planned trilogy coming out. And so that definitely that definitely fits the timeline for it. And so they wanted to have a movie like right as soon as they got it, rather than waiting, which I think was a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, I feel a little sad for the sequel trilogy, because like at episode 7, I'm gonna say it now, and this is probably one of the hottest takes I've ever had. Episode 7 is my favorite Star Wars movie. Period. Just overall, I prefer it infinitely more. Well, not infinitely more, but I prefer it like a lot more than I do with Empire. Because I think episode 7 was such just an overall really amazing movie. Like, and I think it really had a great start to the sequel trilogy, and it felt like the sequel trilogy was attempting to challenge and overall change the status quo of what Star Wars was about. And this is even more evident in The Last Jedi, where, for Rey's story anyways, where it was trying to challenge you that, you don't need to come from such a rich history to make a difference, that good people can come from anywhere. That was evident by Rey's story, that was evident by Finn's story, and that was evident by Kylo's story in a sense, and it really did feel like they were trying to change people's perspective on what Star Wars was about, not necessarily about coming from all these rich histories of Jedi's and all that stuff, but more so about the fact that anyone can make a difference, And it felt like that was the
I
whole.
like that too.
That was going to be the whole. I felt like that was going to be the whole point of the sequel trilogy, and that's kind of why I feel a little sad about it, because poor management led to it being a dumpster fire of a trilogy.
Yeah, which unfortunate that things went all over the place for that.
Yeah, but I do hope that the next trilogy we get our threequel trilogy, I guess. I do hope the next trilogy does at least give the sequel trilogy somewhat of a redemption arc, because it kind of deserves it. And Rey really needs the support, because I do love Rey as a character. She just sucks in episode 9. But anyways, so going aside from all Star Wars stuff and the less controversial stuff, Tears of the Kingdom is soon. You ready for you ready for Chaddendorf?
I have dubbed him Chaddendorf. I have not seen anyone else dub him as that, but he is Chaddendorf. I will take any and all credit.
It helps even more that he's voiced by Matt Mercer.
That is very true. I'm very happy that Matt Mercer is in here.
Yes, we love him.
I think this might be the first time Ganon actually has a voice.
It's one of the only times. I know Matt played Ganondorf like very, very long time ago. I don't even remember like what it was actually from. I think it was like a web series, I think.
That would check out.
I'm pretty sure anyways.
But yeah, I'm very excited. I was actually talking about this recently on stream. I'm very interested and curious to see how they're going to do the narrative of this game mixed with the overall game design of Breath of the Wild.
Right.
Because there's a very easy pitfall to fall into with open world games, especially when it comes to games with side quests going on and like a main quest that has a big drive.
Yeah.
Because you kind of fall into what is a little bit known as the Fallout 4 problem, where your whole drive in that story is, I gotta find my kid because I saw him get taken from me in the beginning of the game. But hey, there's a side quest. So I'm gonna go dick around with the side quest, even though it's like paramount that I go find my kid because he might be dead or like needing help. So it's that kind of dissonance between the narratives of the game that you want to avoid. And like Breath of the Wild sidestepped this very nicely, where they didn't give you one like they gave you multiple main goals to go to, but it also wasn't necessary to go to like the only one that was really necessary in quotes was go help Zelda beat Calamity Ganon and like prevent the Calamity from going crazy. And even then, like, you could either, once you get off Tutorial Island in the middle of the map,
Island, that's what you're calling it?
Yeah, you could literally just run to Ganon at Hyrule Castle with a pot lid and a ladle and beat his ass. And then
I'm gonna beat his ass with a spoon.
Yeah, that's literally that's what you could do in that game. And so Zelda doesn't really tell you like, listen, the Calamity is here and we need to stop it. But also, if you want to go around and do a bunch of stuff before you go stop it, like go fight, go do this, like go do any other side quests. It all is part of the
or find all 999 Koroks. No, I'm sorry, 900 Koroks.
Yeah, it is all part of the get stronger so you can go fight. Like she literally tells you like you need to recover your strength. Go do that and then come help me so we can defeat the Calamity.
I wish we got stronger from finding Koroks. Let me tell you that.
You do. You get more weapon and armor slots.
That's
the thing. No, like you actually do.
I know,
it's just
but
the reward for collecting
there's
all of
so
them.
many fucking Koroks.
Yeah, there's 999. I think you like
the 900
I think you
actually.
only. Oh, it's 900. Okay.
Yeah, it is
I think
900.
you only need to. I think you only need to collect like maybe 100 to unlock all of the extra weapon and armor and bow slots for the game. And that's like that. I think that's all you have to do, and you'll find those if you go out to do the other parts of the main quests. You'll find those. Like you'll find Korok seeds pretty much everywhere. That's how well designed the game is. And so that's what has me very curious about about Tears of the Kingdom, because it looks like it's going to be much more story driven.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, it feels like there's a lot more urgency to to everything, which I do love. I do love that there's so much more danger to the story than the last game, because it felt like you kind of had a lot of time to go and gather your strength and everything, like you just said. But now that you have gathered your strength, this shit's like turning from 0 to 100. Hey, I said the thing.
Yeah,
it's going from 0 to 100.
Attaboy.
Didn't even think about it. Just was a conscious thing, just out of conscious thing. But yeah, it feels like you're going from 0 to 100 with everything, and because you already have all your gear, you have you have the Master Sword, if anything. Which I don't know. Does Link lose the Master Sword? Does he have to get it back?
I don't know. I'm assuming there'll be a quest to get the Master Sword.
I think for gameplay purposes, maybe, but I think it will definitely be like a lot sooner than usual.
Depends. I think it's going to be along the same lines as how Breath of the Wild handled it, where it's like, all right, complete these shrines once you get enough art.
Yeah, here's like a really like random, like wacky idea that I had for getting the Master Sword, which is not going to happen. It's probably a terrible design choice, but hear me out, all right? Listen. So you lose your Master Sword, right? But this is more than just about. But thing is, like, you've already proven your worth. You've already proven that you are worthy for the Master Sword in the last game, right? So it wouldn't make much sense narratively to have it in a big old shrine, where you're destined to find the Master Sword and whatnot. So my idea was if, the Master Sword location was randomized. And and finding the Master Sword is different for everybody's game, and you'd get like hints as to where you can find it from the NPCs, but where the location is, it's randomized, and you don't need to prove your worth or anything. You just have to go retrieve your trusty sword.
Interesting. I can see the merits for it, but I also don't think that's what they're going to end up doing. I think what's more likely to happen is just it goes back to the pedestal, because I think it's gonna get damaged again.
Yeah, probably.
So it's gonna have to heal.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, what if Link even lost his Master Sword? He can't like just go ahead and maybe he can find it anyway on the spot, but then he has to go back to his shrine and have it healed. But even then, I don't know. I feel like he's going to lose. I feel like he's going to lose the Master Sword at the beginning of the game, because how he's falling from like in the opening cutscene, which I'm pretty sure it's an opening cutscene. I feel like that's going to be in the beginning, where he's like falling down the cliff trying to rescue Zelda, and then his arm.
I don't think we're gonna get in like that's definitely early.
Yeah.
Early in the game. I don't think we're going to get an in medias res.
Right, yeah. But I feel like at the beginning of early in the game, he's going to lose the Master Sword, and he's going to have to find it. Like, what if, like, maybe he, like, spawns on the top of one of the floating islands, and that's how, like, the real game begins, I guess?
I think it would be cool if, I think it would be really cool, actually, if the Master Sword was in like the floating islands.
That would be cool, actually.
I think that would be pretty neat, and it has like some kind of upgrades from the Zoni or Zonai stuff. I think that'd be neat.
Which can I say, the Zonai creativity with the gameplay is so fucking cool. Cause like there was a gameplay video that came out about just a general gameplay you could do, dude.
Oh
you
yeah,
can fuse your arrows with. You can make a meat arrow.
It's like though I'm very excited.
I need to know. I need to know what the meat arrow does.
It looks like if you combine them with gems too, they'll do like different elemental stuff.
Yeah, that'd be really fucking sick. Dude, like they really went all out on this game,
which is really nice. It's using all of those craft. I think one of the bigger complaints was like the recipes really being like difficult to figure out.
It's true, I guess, with the foods.
I had a bit of that to go with, but I also think that's just because I was dumb, because I didn't listen to anything anyone said at the time of like how to cook. So I was just like, let me put this in, and then I came out with
you gotta go to each stable and look at the pictures, and then you'll know.
Yeah. And so like that I think was part of their changes they made was, okay, let's put all of this stuff in a different way.
Right. Yeah, infusing arrows with items is such a cool ass design though.
Oh, and like the shield stuff, I saw like they put a mushroom on one of the shields, and like when it gets hit, it puts like a puff of smoke.
That's
from
really
it,
interesting.
It's super cool.
Yeah, like I'm glad that they delayed this game so long. I've always said that a delayed thing is so much better than a rushed thing.
Thank you, Mr. Miyamoto.
Yes, Miyamoto has said it. Look, Miyamoto is just right about everything.
It's a delayed game is better than a rushed game. Miyamoto Cabbage.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, put it in quotes, and then put it like another set of quotes.
The Michael Scott meme right there.
But Tears of the Kingdom, I'm so ready. I haven't pre-ordered the game yet, but oh my god, when it comes out, oof, I'm gonna be cooking some.
My paycheck is going directly to that next time because I've already paid for so much.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. You have a lot of shit coming out.
Oh, dude, it's when Spider-Man 2 hits that pre-order. My money is
weird about Spider-Man 2 is that recently I learned that Yuri Lowenthal has officially finished his voice lines for the game, but yet we've got like nothing about this game. We have gotten no information, and the game comes out like this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's the scary part. Not that it's scary in the fact that there's not a whole lot finished, but in the fact that I just want to see more.
Okay, yeah. Because that is something that's like I do want to see more going through. And the other thing too is a lot of people I get the issues people have with it of revealing the games way too early and then radio silence later afterwards. I get people being upset about that one, but also
right.
kind of want to generate some hype. Like right now,
yeah,
we may have gotten the reveal too early. People are still like frothing at the mouth.
Yeah, we only got like a 30-second clip, and it was like a teaser, not even like a gameplay reveal, and like people are still like talking about it.
Exactly. So like it's there.
Oh,
people are excited.
Definitely. Okay, well, that seems about to cover all the games, so I guess we can go into the meat of the episode.
Oh wait, hold up. Before we like move out of the games, I just gotta say this because I'm very excited about it. New Quidditch game!
Oh, god damn it.
New Quidditch game.
There you go.
I'm so happy.
Quidditch game. There's a
Yeah,
Quidditch
this
game.
is
There you
coming.
go.
I'm very happy. The playtests are coming. It was just announced. Playtests will be happening either the 21st to the 22nd, or maybe like the 20th to the 21st. I don't know. I just know that I am going to. I am signed up, and hopefully I can be in the playtest because I am very excited. I still have the old Harry Potter Quidditch game on my PS2. It's a lot of fun. I've been waiting like years for a new Quidditch game. I wanted with more modern stuff. I think it's going to be really fun. I hope they get it right and they add more mechanics that are like cool and fun. I don't want it to be like a FIFA or NBA clone. I want it to really lean into the Harry Potter stuff and Quidditch because it's cool. And yeah, so I'm very excited. That's really it.
Well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyways, but no, I'm happy for you, bud. But I don't know
If
Harry
only
Potter.
Jack and Daxter. If only Jack and Daxter was next.
Everything you want is Jack and Daxter.
Yes, because it's cool.
Just because, like, not everything has to be around Jack and Daxter.
Yes, it does. I need it. I need the goodies.
No, god damn it! But fuck Jack and Daxter. We got Blue Beetle to talk about.
Yeah, bitch. But
you know you like Blue Beetle. You know you like that trailer.
Look, I do. Don't say fuck Jack and Daxter, though. All right.
Fine. Screw Jack and Daxter.
Yes, please. Anyway,
Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle.
God, the Mexican in me is just fucking creaming.
I am very excited. I love is it how do you pronounce the
Zolo, man? I can't remember.
Okay, Zolo Metaguane.
It's bad that I'm Mexican and I can't even pronounce his name right.
I believe that's his last name, but anyone else who's watched his stuff before, you'd either know him from, I think it was Shameless or something where he was in there, but also
look, everyone knows him from Cobra Kai.
He's Cobra Kai, yeah. He's Miguel in Cobra Kai.
God, Cobra Kai is like Cobra Kai is the best decision that Netflix has ever made.
I think first off, I think it was a great casting anyway because he does the karate in the show, so he's there like he's cooking. You could tell it, like looking at the action in that trailer, that little hallway sequence
popped off like, so fucking hard, man.
Like I can't wait to see the action in this because it looks good. Like that where he's walking down the hallway and he like pounds the maces of his hands together.
Yeah.
And, like he
turns
sweeps
the
one dude
sword, and then you got the fucking sword. That Buster Sword gif. I am addicted to that gif.
I absolutely love how excited Jaime is in that. He's like, "Let's go," and you just hear the like, "Yeah, let's go."
God, you could tell. You could really tell that the actor himself is just so excited to play this part. Because I think Blue Beetle's so fucking cool, man.
Oh, dude, Jaime is the best, man. I love him. And dude, you know what made me even more excited, though? Even more excited. In that end of that trailer, you get to see fucking Ted Kord's suit with the trunks, and it looks glorious. Like, woo! And you also get to see Dan Garrett, Blue Beetle's suit in there, which probably, like, maybe 10% of people who look at it, the trailer will get because Dan Garrett is like not as widely known, even though he's the original Blue Beetle.
Right.
But like, it's hype for me to see it because it confirms that Jaime's got a legacy and Ted Kord's out there, which means Booster Gold show as well. I'm very happy. But
look, DC is just popping off right now. Like DC is. Oof. James Gunn is fucking cooking. I don't know what people are talking about. James Gunn, ooh, he's hitting me in all the right spots.
Dude, I'm.
Blue Beetle just looks like so much fun.
You know what else too about James Gunn? He just finished the script for Superman Legacy.
Yes,
just finished that script.
God,
by the time this comes out, that'll be old news, but still. Like,
yeah, it'll be like 2 weeks old, but yeah, it's still news that is known to the internet that we are just expressing our own voices about.
It's
Superman Legacy. I'm ready, man. If it's anything like Superman, like Superman Lois, if it's like anything in that quality, whew, I won't be emotionally ready. I have I have cried twice for Superman Lois, and that is more than any other TV show will ever get me. Clone Wars was Clone Wars was like a close second, but nah, Superman Lois.
You know what I'm disappointed about too? Superman and Lois is on hiatus this week. I'm very sad. Yeah, there's no new episode tonight.
So upset. I'm coping about that. But yeah, no, DC is just so much fun now. Like, I remember a time, this was like, not even like a year ago, where DC was like so fucking like sad. Like, DC was just a sad universe to follow.
Like, you know the meme of it's Joe Pesci, and he walks up to the house, he takes a puff, and he goes, "What the fuck is this shit?" And he looks at like a house. That's what I picture, like Gunn walking into DC Studios when he got hired.
Yeah, like, I can imagine that too.
Before he put on like the janitor outfit, to like, all right, time to clean up. Like, I'm very happy.
I have never been so excited about a DC project in so long. Like,
you weren't there when Young Justice was announced.
You know, I wasn't. You were correct. I was not there, but still, it's been too long. I love DC.
By the way, James Gunn, renew season 5 of Young Justice, please.
Is this your rant?
I'm begging you.
Is this your rant?
No.
Oh.
It may come up later. I'm just begging Gunn to renew Young Justice for 5th season.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I still need to catch up on it. There's a lot of things I need to catch up on.
It's good.
I know, but
season 4 is so good.
I know, but I haven't caught up on a lot of things.
Brother, you're caught up on Superman and Lois. You got time now.
I know, but I haven't seen like any of the Mandalorian.
That's okay right now. It's fine.
But anyways,
Mando season 3 is a really big mixed bag, but we'll talk about that.
I've heard about that when I actually watch it, but anyways, you know what is a mixed bag? Motherfucking D&D.
Dude, it's so good.
God, like,
I love it so much. Like,
as I've said in the past podcast, D&D is being a D&D fan is a really good time to be in. Like, you are. Like, amongst being a Sonic fan, being a Sonic fan and into D&D, you are living on high on life right now.
It's a good time. Like, you got Vox Machina, and then the movie right now, and like, what was it? They caved on God, what was the big deal? I remember
it was the OGL.
Yeah, they caved on that.
Finally. I was about to. That was like months ago, dude.
Yeah.
But still,
and like it's cooking and it's nice. Like,
yeah, it's really good. And Honor Among Thieves, man, it has
some really good action.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, honestly, like I've heard, like I've seen. Well, I haven't seen any of the reviews because I don't go on Rotten Tomatoes because Rotten Tomatoes is fucking trash. But I have heard about reviews of the movie and how critics will say that there's too many things happening and you'll never be able to understand what's going on. And I'm like, oh, so this is just like any D&D session.
For real. Like, it's like you gotta pay attention.
Exactly. Like, if you're a D&D fan and you play D&D at least once, you understand everything that's going on in that movie. If you're not, yeah, things go a little too fast-paced, especially with the action, but fast-paced is good, you know? Sometimes fast-paced can be good.
The action was really good in this. Like, honestly, they nailed it.
Yeah, I've seen it twice now, and honestly, like, even better than the first time I've watched it.
Especially that finale. Like, that finale was really good.
I did pay attention to a lot of the action during my second viewing, and the choreography is a spot on. Like, honestly, there's so many, like, there's so much that goes into this movie. Like, it really surprises you that this is a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
A little bit, yeah. Like, you kind of get surprised. I'll say too, like the effects as well were really well done.
Dude,
Like the Dragonborn were practical. Like,
I know, dude.
and they looked good.
It was so surprising to go finally go onto Twitter after seeing the movie and just going about the I think it was Legacy Effects that did the VFX work for Honor Among Thieves. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the company anyways. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I was really amazed to see like how much of this movie was practical. Like there's hardly like there's hardly like any CG in this movie. Fucking a lot of the costumes were practical with other races. Fucking Jonathan was practical. That was the craziest thing I've seen. That Jonathan was practical.
Oh god, I love that.
Yeah, I even seen a couple days ago where the actor was actually like testing out the wings without the hood and without like the mask, and dude, it's a great time.
Like, oh man,
It's like even other things.
The magic looked good.
Yeah,
the best joke in the entire damn movie. I can answer 5 questions, and they leave him there.
And then they come back in the post-credit scene.
And he's just still sitting there. The corpse is still sitting there.
He just wants to be asked a question.
It's such a good D&D moment. Like,
exactly.
I love it.
Like there's so many like good D&D moments that you can find throughout the movie, like explaining a very overcomplicated puzzle only for the player to just immediately activate it. Like that was real. And even even like with the questions thing with Speak with Dead, having such a loophole to that ruling is just showcases how evil a dungeon master can be.
For real, dude, my favorite part of that whole thing too was the wizard is like, why 5 questions? I don't know. Seems kind of arbitrary. Like I loved it so much. It's that kind of like good referential humor of like, why is this the way it is? I don't know, man. Like it's weird. I don't know.
It just like, it just is. It's Dungeons and Dragons. No need to question it. And also like another thing that
it's like it's the game mechanics, but like in the world.
Exactly. Like, but like another thing
that it's game mechanics.
Yeah.
Like,
another thing that I really did enjoy about this movie is just like the score. I don't really pay attention to the score all that much when I'm watching movies because I'm not a music guy. I'm not sideways over here, you know. But I really did pay a lot of attention to overall score, and dude, the score like slaps so hard. Like I think one of the most memorable pieces from the movie was during the I guess tavern scene where where fucking the sorcerer was like using his wild magic, and it had that like again I'm not a music professor, but it had the fucking lute playing, and the sorcery. It felt like a sorcerer at his work during that music. That's what it felt like. And then I think it was also it was pretty much all the times where what was her name? Olga? Yeah, Olga. Holga, yeah. Holga, yeah. But all the times Holga was like showing her true barbarian energy was so cool during those moments with the score and everything.
Oh god. I love it so much.
It's so much fun, honestly. Like I will say that it's
Chonky Boy Dragon. I like.
Yes,
I loved
him. Dragon. It's so funny. You think you wouldn't love it, but you love it. It's so much fun. I love it. It's so funny.
Boy is great, and they pulled off the paladin like no humor paladin. Like
yes,
literal.
Like the entire time I was watching a movie with my D&D group where we looked at a paladin, we all kept talking about, this is how a paladin actually acts. Like this is like a real paladin.
It's so funny.
Would you classify a paladin as a DM NPC? Would you classify him as a DM NPC in the movie? I feel like he's a little bit of it.
Yeah. I would say he was
because he's extremely broken, like kills everything in one shot, like progresses the story majorly.
To be fair, Paladins, to be fair, Paladins are
Well,
also
Paladins
pretty
do that
good.
anyways, but he
Yeah,
progresses the
like
story for the characters. He leads them along, and they just fucking dips off only to come
yeah,
back
he died.
later.
He just dips. I love that part. He's just like, okay, I did my part. Good luck. And then just like literally,
Just
they
walks
made
a
the
direct
joke out of it.
straight line.
Yeah, they made that joke out of it. It's like, oh, there's a rock. What's he gonna do? Nope, he's just going over it. Like unbroken stride, going straight. And I
God,
love it.
yeah, like they do so much right with this movie, and it's kind of surprising. Like I expected it to be, I expected it to be as good as I would find a D&D movie, but I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of it, and I think I think that the story is obviously a little too basic, but but the basic story is made up for just the characters, like the personality of each character, and their own tiny little arcs that they go through is so well done, honestly.
I think it was like the main plot is kept very simple in that terms where it's like it's pretty much like a fetch quest heist.
Right, right.
That's what you got to do. And that was very fun. That was a very fun part of it. And it helps to so that it doesn't feel like there's too much of a side quest. Like I think that was my favorite part was recognizing there was a little bit of a side quest that happened. It's like, okay, we got to find this now. Let's go find this. Okay, now we're good to come back and do this. But it felt like it was preparing for the main challenge that the DM is set up, and I really liked that. So I really enjoyed it. You know, the thing that I honestly should have expected more, because I always thought the movie was going to be like pretty fun and like just a straight up D&D campaign brought to life, which like yes, already.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I didn't know who had wrote it until like I'm in the theater and I'm seeing it go down. And I'm like, oh shit! It was the the guys who wrote Homecoming or Spider-Man Homecoming and Freaks and Geeks wrote this movie. And they are really good at what they do, and they are also big nerds. So like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I even remember like seeing a couple promo clips or teasers or whatever where like the actual cast was playing Assassin or D&D just to like try and get in the feel of things, which honestly I love it.
Like that's awesome.
Like I feel like for any source material you need to actually get invested within that source material before you actually go into either directing or acting for the movie. Like you need to understand why people love it, you know?
I think there's a little like sweet spot for it, because one thing I will say, like this actually came out recently, why to look at the Last of Us show, why Druckmann and Mazin didn't have Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey and like pretty much everyone else, why they didn't have them play the games, because they didn't want them to emulate the other actors' performances. Like they didn't want them to try and emulate what Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson did with the characters they wanted. And like so there's a bit of like I think it kind of depends on, at least like for D&D, you know, this is a thing where you play it more often, so it's not like you're adapting characters one to one, like you would be with, you know, The Last of Us, where there is the source material. It's a lot more direct, or like looking at like the comics for a thing, where it's, you know, for the comics it's a lot easier to kind of look at the source material, read it, and as you're reading it, it's like I would assume, you know, as you're reading it as the actor, you're like, okay, I'm playing this character. How would I voice them or like portray the scene in like a live action thing, based off of everything I've seen about, you know, in the art about the character and what they say.
Right. Yeah. You kind of get a sense of like their core personality and spin it in your own way, basically.
Yeah. Like, how would you show that?
Yeah.
And that's like, I think that's the lucky part for D&D is like, okay, here's my character. I'm going to go play this in a campaign. Like,
yeah.
This
like
is what
that's basically like it's easy. It's easy to do that with a D&D because you make your own fucking character anyways.
Exactly, right? Like I honestly feel like when they went through to a lot of like, maybe this is just because, I know D&D, but there were so many moments where I was sitting in the movie and I was like, I wonder if they like rolled when they were writing this, they rolled the dice and like
Yes, yeah. I
make the
really
story.
did. I was also doing that too. Like sometimes I go like, all right, so this is when they failed this check, or this when they
Yeah,
passed this
right.
save.
And like I think there was something. I think it was really cool how they did the magic too. Like I know my brother was a little disappointed that there wasn't as much like bard magic, but they
Okay,
did the
see
bard.
that's the thing though. That's the thing I want to get into too. Like, a lot of people say that Edgin is more of a rogue than a bard, when really bards don't really possess like that much magic. Like bardic inspiration doesn't exactly have to be like something magical.
Well, yeah, and that's what I like. It was like basically every scene he was in, he was just constantly using bardic
Yeah,
inspiration.
like bardic inspiration can just be, I inspire you with this. Now feel better. Like especially when Edgin was trying to cheer up Holga after conversing with her
With mini
ex-husband.
Bradford.
Yeah.
Dude, he won. Just saying.
He
He
did
won.
win.
He won twice, which was the thing. He
Yeah.
won twice. But anyway, like yeah, they very successfully showed off the bard's powers, and I saw probably one of the dumbest critiques ever, which was why is the bard using his loot in combat? He should have a knife. And I'm like, bitch, you don't
What?
D&D. Get out of here. Like,
Get
that's
out of
not
here.
what
Like, no, look.
they use their loot, all right?
They used it. They used their instrument to attack. Let's be honest. Because I'm gonna say this now. Even in a campaign I'm playing in, we have a bard character, and instead of like using, like, he doesn't use magic that much. I'm not gonna lie. Because he's an entertainer bard, right? So he doesn't use a whole lot of magic, but he uses his fucking loot to just whack people in the face.
I love it. I love that. Like,
But
I
yeah,
will
no,
say,
I really
I
don't
will,
like how
I
people
will,
say that Edgin's more of a rogue. I understand it, but I mean, when it comes to like, again, like bards aren't really that magical adept, anyways. I feel like bards are more supporting, right? So
smooth
Edgin,
talk. They'll get you through. Like the rogue is more the sneak in. They don't normally like you. Normally, as a rogue, you want to sneak in and like not be in
right?
confrontation with people or talk to them. The bard is the one that can smooth talk
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of people.
definitely.
Charisma stat is so high.
But like the one thing that I did like about Edgin, and this like just going solely off of like D&D things, and now is how he went from being a like somewhat of a paladin to a bard. You know?
Yeah, like that. That was neat. That was bit of multi-class there.
Little bit. And honestly, I feel like I do like that Edgin's character had a lot. Like honestly, Chris Pines kind of carries the movie. I'm saying now, Chris Pines absolutely like carries a lot of the movie's performance.
Listen. The tiefling, all right.
Look, I get that she's hot, but
She's very hot. Just saying.
I do like her though, and I
I'm
mean that's honestly coming from personal bias, since I also play a tiefling druid, so little bit of a bias. But
kind of
anyways,
bad though. I'm just saying.
little bit. But Chris Pines like carries a lot of the performance and just overall character in this movie, because he has I think that he has the most depth out of the rest of the characters, because he gets the most time to shine. You know,
Well, he is the main character
obviously,
of
but
the movie, which makes sense. We as much like you kind of want to pick one character to mostly draw the plot around. And
yeah.
I enjoyed that they hit the hallmarks of a D&D character like right off the bat too, with here's the tragic backstory.
Yeah, that was a really nice that was a really nice
that's
constant thing going on, except with the sorcerer. The sorcerer didn't really get a backstory.
Which is fine. Yeah, big bad evil guy.
Yeah.
It's
we're not the
It's-
big bad evil guy. What? Simon.
it's
Yeah,
the
Simon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Simon didn't really get a backstory. I'm kind of upset about that.
I'm okay with it. He was the backstabber, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, but I like Simon during the end. You know, I liked the little scene where he actually learns to attune to something.
Oh shit, I missed. I went to the wrong person. I think he
What?
was
No,
fine.
that was a that was a fucking Edge. I think his name was.
Yeah, I did. I got him mixed up. I enjoyed.
Wow.
Gosh, I enjoyed all of the characters. I think the way they utilized the powers was just really good.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely. I really did like Simon's use of. I guess you can classify as Big B's hand when he's like doing the arm wrestle with the
oh, it
with
was definitely
with the
Big
Red
BC.
Wizard. Yeah, I like that it was a kind of a different use of Big B's hand rather than just like arcane
It
energy
was
hand.
yeah, it was very fun. They got fun with the visuals, and I prefer that.
Oh yeah, that dude and
Or
dude, the whole like druid, the whole like wild shaped druid scene,
Owl
mwah,
Bear,
chef's kiss.
Owl Bear, we love it.
Yeah, not even just the owl bears, just the entire like one shot of the druid
Dude, that
shape
escape,
changing throughout the whole fucking town of Neverwinter.
like that show or that showcase, like the one take, escape all around was so cool.
Oh yeah, that was really
I
really
love
well
it.
done.
Like I think they did so much, like so well in
Yeah,
this
and the
movie.
thing is, like, it is like very fast paced, but none of it like feels nauseating in a sense. Like it doesn't like it's not
It's
fast paced
not
where it makes you sick, right?
it's not the Rise of Skywalker fast pacing. It is fast pacing that works for the movie because you still get what you need. And it's like, okay, we got a bit of urgency, so we're cooking. We're
Right,
going full.
right.
There's not really a moment where it loses steam.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, and that's a good thing. That sometimes can be a good
Absolutely.
thing.
Absolutely. Well, I would rather like I think if there's not really a moment where the movie drags, I think you've done a good job. Like even if it feels like the movie goes by fast,
Oh yeah, like
it's
because
still like that
a
just means
fun
it did a
movie
good
is way better than a boring one.
yeah, or one that pisses you off. And like if you're having fun when going through it, I think the movie has done its job. Like
Yeah,
I'm not
and
gonna lie.
that's kind of like the bigger thing that I want to talk about because like that was like that was a tweet that I saw. That's what I saw going around about the Mario movie, which I haven't seen yet, but it was
I've
like
seen
a
it.
little meme going like, "Did you really expect this movie to be as deep as a Pixar movie?" Kinda. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, listen.
Mario stories are not known for their depth. All right, they are fun. They are just fun,
Yeah, go
simple
play
stories.
Sonic games for the depth. Get a hold of yourself.
Actually, go play Sly Cooper. But like they're not meant to be anything super deep. They're just meant to be fun little drives to get you into this world and have a good time
Right,
while you're playing. And that's what Mario does, and that's what D&D does. It gets you in as well. While D&D is definitely has more to say than the Mario movie. At least just, there's a deeper message going on. Mario movie definitely does have something to say. Um, it's just a lot of fun to get in too. It doesn't feel like your time was wasted, and that's honestly one of the worst things that any piece of media like a TV show or a movie can do is waste your time.
oh yeah, no, definitely. That's like that's just a total red flag when you come out of the movie and feel like, man, I really just wasted my time with the movie. And I know it's like a bit of a weird criticism, but it happens like on very rare occasions. Like there's rare moments where I feel like my time was wasted watching a movie. Um
Mm-hmm.
like
I like
I think
for me.
the biggest example of this would be probably Captain Marvel because I came in and out of the movie feeling absolutely nothing.
Mine would be Thor: The Dark World,
I
where
haven't
like that was
seen the Dark World in a while, honestly.
you're not missing much because it is an exceedingly boring movie, and it's one of those things where it's like I I get, if you want to judge a movie on, how consistent of a piece of media it is, but if you get only into the consistency part and nothing else about it is really all that entertaining, you're gonna kind of run into some problems because
Right.
asleep in the movie, so I don't get to see how consistent it is, or whatever other interesting bits happen in it, because I fall asleep in it, and because there's nothing else going on.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that once you hit that point when you watch a movie where the only notable things you have to talk about it is the consistency or plot contrivances or plot holes or whatever, then that you're already crossing a line that's saying that this is like a nothing movie.
yeah, because then that just means, okay, so this bit of writing matched up versus like, but how did that look when I watched it? How did it look? How was that information conveyed? Was it conveyed in an entertaining way that enhanced the story, or was it just shot like two characters are just standing in a room?
Right.
Like, this is what's happening. Like, there's nothing dynamic going on about it, and it kind of just ignores the rest of the stuff that goes into making a film at that point, or a story. Like, it's like looking at a comic book and like the art is ass or whatever, and like, or not, conveyed in an engaging way. It's just a bunch of square panels in a row that give you exactly what's going on. And it's like very little variation going through, but the writing is certainly very snappy, very good. It all lines up.
Yeah,
But
I
like, there's
this
nothing else going on.
yeah,
It's
this is
just,
also kind of evident with I think the Ant-Man movies, because as much as Quantumania is like a very mixed bag for me, I saw a lot of fun.
Don't you dare speak bad about Ant-Man 1. I will hurt you, sir.
I'm not talking about Ant-Man 1. Ant-Man 1's good. Ant-Man
Okay.
1 and 2, Ant-Man 1 and 2 is good. But honestly, like as much as I like don't feel as enjoyed about Quantumania that I have with the first two Ant-Man movies, still had my fun with it, It's a fun time.
I think like the most fun scene in the whole movie that honestly felt like straight out of a comic as well, like the fun parts of the comic, was when they're in the time drive and there's a whole bunch of different versions of them.
Yeah.
And a bunch of stuff, like
that was a great scene, honestly.
Their prime directive that kind of unites them to beat the time stuff of like, different versions of himself, was like, okay, Scott's trying to save his daughter, and that's the unifying thing.
Yeah, that was a really great scene. I did really love that scene, and that's kind of like the main thing I really did like about Quantumania is performances aside, I do think that what they attempted to do with Cassie and Scott's relationship was really, it was a good job.
And like the one thing I'll say too about that scene is like, it may not, add up consistently with whatever rules are possible in that thing, because it's all infinite choices of what Scott would make. There's no way all of them could come together to one thing, but it's like, this is really effective in a story capacity because it is the one drive that we as the audience know Scott has,
right,
like above all else. So it really, really works in terms of a story. And that's the thing. If you only look at things in like very specific lenses, you kind of miss out on the rest of it. And you miss out on the other parts too, because then now it all kind of funnels into a formula a bit of like, it all has to add up this way, this specific way. Payoffs or narrative beats that are earned be damned. Because the mechanics to add up. It's like, let's get the character moments.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think that the, I guess, in-universe rules for movies like MCU or Star Wars don't necessarily need to be the thing that defines what you do with your story or your characters. It could just be like, it's basically like D&D. They're guidelines. They don't
exactly. That is my thing. That is, oh god, here we can hit the random right here. Actually, if
oh no,
that is my
here it is.
Thing. I despise the rules shit, because that's not how it fucking works. In this,
go off.
You can say these are the rules established. It is not a rule. It is what one thing sets up. It does not negate that anything else could happen at a later date.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that this could have always been done if the person knew about it before. Like, they could just be like, I knew about it beforehand. I didn't do it because of this reason, or I didn't do it because of this. That is perfectly fine. There is no, like, these are the rules of how it's supposed to happen. You can have a character say, oh, this is, you know, I've studied this. This is how it works. A character can explain that, but that is words. That is not the action that happens. And the actions that, like, you won't really know it. You won't really know how it works until you actually get in to do it.
Right.
Yourself, or maybe someone else coming in to try something. They're a different character. They're going to do something differently, and they'll discover something new. And that's what you end up happening. And that's what you end up having. And so trying to say, like, because, like, I think trying to nail things down into these little specific rules is just unnecessarily shutting yourself into a creative box where you can't break free because I'll break this supposed rule that I set up beforehand. You can absolutely, on a writer's side, if you don't want to, like, say death happens, you don't want to go back on any character death. That is perfectly fine. There's no rules. Like, you can have a self-imposed rule on yourself of, I will never do this in my story. That is perfectly fine if you don't want to do something. I don't think that you can say, I don't think saying that there's rules to a world, though.
Yeah. No, I can understand that.
Like, that there's a difference. There's a difference between saying, I'm never going to do this in my story and I don't want to do that, versus, like, this is the Force. Here's the Force. You have a bunch of these abilities, and you have the Metachlorians going. Is there any rules what's the rules behind these Force stuff? Because everyone seems to get really pent up on training, where they say there's rules established that you need to have training in order
there's
to
not. Fucking Anakin Skywalker is proof of this.
He's using the Force passively all the time, and that's what enables him to be one of the only humans able to do a pod race. So where was the training for that shit that he went through? Because as far as I'm aware, he just got into the pod, started going, and just instinct. It's instinct. And so that shit annoys the crap out of me.
No, it's really frustrating. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna reference a very, very, very masterpiece of a video from JXC, who is just overall just a great they're overall just a great content creator. Yeah, I'm gonna reference to his reaction video about plot holes and how they go, there's very little things that you are not allowed to do. Why are you saying that there are only two possible outcomes to a story? You are the writer.
Ooh, I hate it. And like, that's another thing. I hate the whole, okay, so this is the scenario. Some YouTuber comes along or some critic is like, so it's either they make this decision and either this happens or this happens from this. I'm like, nope, that is no. Like, there's infinite possible scenarios.
You are an omnipotent god.
Like, come on.
Yeah, but I really don't like how
play out in so many ways.
Yeah, but I really just don't appreciate the idea of rules in writing at all. Like, it's like the most common misinterpretation of writing a story, and it pisses me off so much because it's what gives a lot of shows their hate. It's just the idea of, no, this is the rule that they're supposed to go off of for writing.
It's like, you have a principle there, or you have something that happened in another story that works really well. It's not that it's a rule that that people are following. It's more that, hey, this has worked well before. Now I'm gonna try and work that into my story and hit that same beat. But they don't follow it in a, oh, I must do this, that, like, I must do what this story did beforehand to get the payoff. Because if they did, you'd end up with basically the exact same story or a formula to go off of. And for a long stretch of time, there was a lot of people complaining about the Marvel formula.
Yeah, and that's like the weird thing now. It's like a weird thing. Like, now people want to abide by some type of formula, even though that's the same thing that they that they hated before.
Because it makes stories where things don't, like, it makes a story where you don't particularly get engaged by it because it's not doing anything you haven't seen before. It's not doing anything that really like challenges you. Like Captain Marvel and Thor: The Dark World are like the two examples I will always point to of they followed the formula going, and it just didn't amount to anything crazy or exceptional. And that was like they put the plot ahead of what was going on. And you'll notice like the examples of like especially in terms of, you know, the in terms of the Marvel stuff, and then look at Star Wars too. The most popular movies are the ones that do things that that flips the audience on its head and affect, or that is new. You look at Guardians. Guardians was a completely like breath of fresh air for the Marvel stuff, where there's nothing else like it in the MCU. And then like looking at Star Wars too, Empire Strikes Back, it was kind of an unspoken thing that like the villain isn't supposed to be like related to the hero. You reveal
that was like that was one of the biggest things like in film history.
I mean, looking at comics too, by the time when Gwen Stacy dies in the original Spider-Man stuff, you didn't kill the love interest. You didn't kill the girlfriend. That was like an unspoken thing.
And it's like I don't understand why. I don't understand why now people are so quick to jump on the idea that there has to be some rule to follow or some, like you said, some formula that they need to follow, because the best stories are told when you don't adhere to a system. That has been proven so many fucking times throughout movies, throughout TV shows, throughout comics. It's so insane to me how people are just now on the idea of that there needs to be a rule to it all or some type of system.
Because you're gonna end up with some pretty boring stories going through.
Yeah, like I get
we gotta have it this way. We have to explain why this works the way it does. And that's another one of my biggest like peeves is the whole, well, it needs to be explained. Like it needs to be explained, otherwise that creates problems for it. And it's like no. There's a certain thing as trusting the intelligence of your audience, and yes, there's also a thing as having too many asks of the audience. Like it's kind of another principle of like, okay, the screenwriter or storyteller gets a certain amount of asks. Like it's an unspoken thing because it's not something you can really quantify. It's just you have a certain amount of asks where you don't explain certain things and ask that your audience go along with it. And it goes with suspension of disbelief, where it's a different thing for every person. It's all the screenwriter is going to get a different amount of asks from every person that they come across, because not everyone's going to have the same thing, where they do certain choices and make certain story decisions, or certain like the powers work this way. You have to ask the audience, okay, are you on board with it? Some people will pass and be like, nope, too much. Or you get Multiverse of Madness, where some people are a-okay with where like the ask of how the Illuminati works versus Wanda, or the ask of, all right, I'm asking you now to suspend your disbelief that she can't that she's not flying, or she's choosing not to fly and do things more in a scary way for the movie. Some people are a-okay with that because that's not out there. Some people didn't. And trying to explain it all and not respecting the intelligence of your audience in certain scenarios is how you end up with people more mad.
Yeah, and I think that's like there needs to be a sweet spot to it all. And I think movies like Honor Among Thieves hit that sweet spot. They don't really follow to, like, because honestly, Honor Among Thieves is such a very unique movie. Honestly,
I think there's one explanation for the powers that they use, and it's the
and that's during the like the when the
the
paladin
Hither.
explains over the wizards and such.
I wasn't. No, that's just general exposition. I was saying like one of the power abilities that they use, like the Hither Dither staff.
Yeah.
Where he makes the portal and he's like, oh, so I do this and I make it over there. That's like the only explanation I really remember, because that is the only one that comes up later in the story as a thing. And it's not something that's like, it's more of a, okay, remember what this is, and then we'll go to it. Like, they don't explain how any of the druid stuff works. The explanation for the reanimate the dead spell is so a joke can happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's a setup for a joke, and it works there. So it's not like, it's the exposition problem too, where it's like, okay, well, we need the exposition, but if you explain, like, if you just give the exposition so the audience doesn't get confused, like, that is so boring and kind of insulting, because I could kind of gather what was happening. Like, I'm not stupid. I could gather what was happening from there. And it's also, it's another thing I have with a different script I read, which I don't know if we have time for it later. But I kind of want to talk about it later, because the Spider-Man Lotus stuff is so hilarious.
Oh yeah, that I haven't read anything about that, but that's probably later. We'll probably go about it quickly here in a minute. But I think,
because I read the script, but
but I think that the main thing that you need to do is just trust your audience. Like, granted, people are fucking stupid today. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Twitter has shown that people are not the most intelligent beings in the universe. But
when you say you like waffles and someone comes along, so you hate pancakes.
Yeah, exactly, oh. Exactly. But like, when it comes to writing anything, really, you need to trust your audience and believe that they are intelligent beings, and it's like, just have faith, I guess, is the whole point of it all. Just have faith in your audience that they can understand what's happening in the movie. You can go about like very, very brief explanations if it's really something that you feel the needs to explain. But when it comes to establishing your world, there are a lot of things that don't necessarily need to be explained. There's a lot, like there's a lot of core things about a story that doesn't need to be explained at all.
And like, the other thing too is you gotta know your medium too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, in a book, absolutely you can do some exposition like that. You just gotta make sure it's entertaining to read. So you want to give it a perspective in there. Like, it's basically the same thing as, writing out exposition in any other medium. You gotta make it entertaining to read and have it be like in service of some character making a joke, some character's perspective on the world, making it entertaining in that way. Because in a book, you don't have the visual thing.
Right.
You have to describe the visuals for someone else. In a comic, you can do in a comic, game, TV show, movie, you have the advantage of a visual medium. So you don't have to explain everything anyway. You can let the audience look at it, let your visuals, your set design, your I'm trying to find the right word for a comic, but your artist, like, you can have them design all of this stuff to make it make sense, and trust that the audience will get it there, because there's a certain sense of satisfaction too, for me at least, on the audience side, where if I can piece things together because, I saw this last thing and I saw this in the last scene and now it came back together and I've pieced it, I pieced together the backstory or whatever. And the movie, it like relies on me picking up that information.
Yeah, definitely.
That feels so sad.
Just look at Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Just look at that movie. Just overall one of the best anime movies ever put to film. That fucking abuses visual storytelling in every sense of the word. Just that it should be taught in schools.
Good.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, consistency is kind of lame nowadays. It's a good thing to have, but you don't need to. It doesn't need to define your writing.
Yeah, don't be a slave to it.
Exactly.
It's very nice to have. You should have a level of consistency in your work, absolutely, because you don't want to just be jumping around all over the place. Which, that's kind of what happens in the script we're going to talk about.
No.
Like, you don't want to be jumping around. You don't, because namely, you don't want to jar the audience.
Oh yeah,
like,
no.
You want their viewing experience to be smooth and to be something that they can grasp onto, and.
Like don't think of it as like
don't
think of it as like a zigzag or a straight line. Think of it as like a hill.
It's a path.
Yeah, it's a little path, and that's really all you need to when it comes to actually writing your movies, instead of just going down a straight line.
There may be, obstructions you come across. You're walking down through the road, and a bush is overgrown into the road. You have a bunch of tree branches hanging down that could hit you, and that could, brush up against your face, make it tough to see. There could be fog down the road as well. Like, the path is still there for you to follow. It's just up to there's a little bit that should be left up to the audience as well to figure it out.
Just walk right over the stone.
Exactly. But yeah, before we end it, Spider-Man Lotus.
Oh boy, this is new information for me.
Okay.
Ooh, this is gonna be great to hear, actually.
For anyone who doesn't know what Spider-Man Lotus is, it was a fan film made by Gavin J. Knopp, who was going to make he got a lot of money for it. Actually, he crowdfunded $100,000 to make the movie. Got the whole cast, the costumes, costume department, the CGI for it, storyboard artists, all that. Just going pretty good. He had a full cast. The entire Spider-Man fan base very excited about it. It looked like it was going to be something that pleased a lot of the fan base. Then about 6 months after the trailer dropped, the fucking Reverse Flash came out of nowhere. But that's basically what this guy kind of was. It was someone who got jilted by Gavin, decided to leak a lot of stuff about him, the actor that played Peter Parker. There was some stuff that came out afterwards about the actor that played Goblin. Everything went to shit. There was a lot of racist stuff. And this had happened.
I know the baseline things about it. I
gotta explain. I gotta run the timeline too for everyone who's listening.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This also came after Gavin, John Watts had reached out to Gavin. John Watts, the director for the MCU stuff, reached out to Gavin because he saw the trailer and was congratulating him for it. Looked really very, very excited. Huge thing. Andrew Garfield had been on a plane with Gavin's dad, who was the pilot, and was like, "Yo, I saw this too. This is really cool." So there was a lot going for it. A lot of racist messages leaked after that.
Oh no!
That Gavin had sent, and that Warden Wayne, the actor who played Peter Parker, had also said. And these were not old things. These were fairly recent stuff that kind of screwed over everything around the movie. Not all of not everyone involved in the project knew about this stuff. It came as a shock to a lot of people, including a lot of the co-stars, the actors for Harry, MJ, and Gwen, a lot of the VFX team. But it was kind of the what was it? What's the saying? It kind of broke the dam. The straw that broke the camel's back.
Yes, that's the words.
Everything started leaking. The Goblin suit leaked. The Green Goblin suit leaked. A bunch of the action scenes leaked as well. And then later, the script leaked, which I found it recently. I read it.
I need to hear this.
It is very, very rough. The one thing I won't hold against it. So Gavin also wrote the script himself, so he was writer and director.
Okay.
And okay, if you want more on the drama and everything, go find another video. There's other videos that have recapped it. I just gave you the rundown that led to all of this. Maybe we'll link one of those videos in here. Who knows?
I mean, if I'm not too lazy enough to find it,
I'll give you the link at that
Thank
point.
you.
But the formatting, because it's a leak and it was put in Google Docs, I'm giving Gavin the benefit of the doubt that he wrote it in a screenwriting program, so it's probably better formatted elsewhere. It was just really rough formatting in Google Docs.
Right.
But that doesn't save it, or that doesn't really excuse it, because there's a lot of shit in there that just is so rough. It reads like a first pass, and it's very apparent. Like what's most like kind of sad about it, at least to me, is the way Gavin was talking beforehand made him seem like he had a really good handle for the characters, which, in all fairness, knowing the characters and then writing the characters, two different things, because you can know what the characters are, but that doesn't mean you're a good writer at that point.
Yeah.
Or that you have the, and that writing is a muscle that kind of needs to be worked out in order to be stronger and keep in shape. And so there's a lot of parts of this movie that the characters, MJ doesn't feel like MJ. Gwen is extremely romanticized and is barely given a character.
That's ooh.
There's a lot of okay, the biggest thing about this actually is that it feels very much like a fan going, this is what a Spider-Man story should be. There should be X, Y, and Z thing in it, and I am going to do that. And so you have the hallmarks of it in terms of Peter Parker is a very, very sad boy, like very sad, misery all around. You have you have the Uncle Ben and the origin story happening.
No.
And Peter bringing it back. And that's kind of the big things, is we need to have Uncle Ben and we need to have Peter being sad. And
yeah, okay, I can see how there's a lot of problems with this movie. And
then MJ just kind of gets shoved into being the friend therapist.
Really?
She doesn't do much. She just is there to she's just there for Peter to be pissed out, to yell at someone about his feelings after Gwen dies, and so that she can bring everyone else together, which still doesn't entirely feel like MJ to at least play therapist at this point.
Okay.
To everybody, like, especially if you read the comics, you'd like, after Gwen's death, things with Harry and everything are not the best. And she's not really like it doesn't fit as well because she's just there to be the therapist. She doesn't feel like she has much of a character. And then the conversations between all the characters just really, really artificial, along with the relationships.
Kind of like baseline things of like, this is what this character would say, essentially.
I don't even like, I'm not even at that point, because I don't even feel like there's a monologue from Flash there's a lot of monologues from characters.
They were going down that rabbit hole.
There's a lot of monologues from characters. The biggest one comes that sticks out to me comes from Flash.
Is it basically how it was like in Spectacular?
Except it's not like Spectacular because it's not as good, and Flash is better. But like, the thing is, Flash talks about a lot of stuff that happened because he meets MJ at a party, and like, he asks it starts off fine. He asks, where's Peter and Harry? What's going on? Like, what's going on? I haven't seen them for a while. MJ, this is probably the first part where MJ felt like MJ, but she showed her the thing is, she showed her emotions a bit too much. That where she always had a mask of the party girl, and her breaking down in this way around Flash just doesn't feel like MJ.
Okay.
And so
No,
like he's talking and he's like, one of the biggest ones was like the way he describes his and Peter's relationship back in the day, and like, and now he's like, I kind of respected him now, and it's like we're going through, and it just it doesn't feel right.
What?
It's the way we get there too just feels so artificial.
Yeah, no, I can totally see what it's saying. It basically feels like a lot of explaining from the characters about what their characters are.
And there's a lot of like, we have a checklist of things we gotta hit.
Okay, I get there, you.
But
that
we're
makes
not
sense
gonna
now.
worry. Like, we're not gonna worry about how we got there. It's just we need to hit these because these are sad. So the audience is gonna feel sad.
Right.
But conversations don't steer in that direction. And like, the one thing I'll say is like, this is all from reading the leaked script. So in the movie, there's a big difference from reading it on paper and then reading it executed, or hearing it be executed and seeing it be executed on screen. Where if a set of actors have enough chemistry with each other, they can make almost any awkwardly reading dialogue on a screenplay. They can make it be extremely charming and entertaining to watch if the actors have both, the skill to pull it off and like understanding of their characters, and if they have the right chemistry with each other
right
on screen. And so admittedly, what reads really rough to me here could be executed very well by the actors, and maybe Gavin's a pretty good director that could get that out of them. And so I encourage everyone to go read it. It's just the way they get around to it feels so artificial, and these relationships don't really feel that natural. And like half of the runtime is just dedicated to Peter telling his origin story to the kid who it takes inspiration from some pretty sad comics where, the death of Gwen Stacy, Spider-Man Blue, and the kid who collects Spider-Man comics.
Okay. So
that one's about a kid who collects Spider-Man comics, but it's revealed he's also going to die. He's just a kid with a terminal illness.
Okay.
And,
so from my understanding of what you're describing the script to me, it sounds like a teenager's fan fiction of Spider-Man.
A little bit. And like the kind of the worst part for it is I don't think it actually earned it. I don't think it really earned the ending where it's supposed to, like, the name of Spider-Man Lotus, it's like the lotus flower, you're supposed to bloom, like darkest before dawn, bloom out into a new version of yourself. It's about, coming out of a slump and finding redemption in it all. And I get what he's going for. I didn't feel that be earned when I was reading the script, because a lot of the time is just dedicated to characters being sad and just telling us their stories and certain things that just don't really connect. It feels really disconnected, which again could be because of the format, because there was a lot of like really screwy format in the leak that made it hard to read. And then like some of the characters just exist to bring other characters together. They don't really have their own thing. Looking at you, MJ, which really sucks. Gwen is just really an object, which I hope is mitigated, because she really only has one scene where she interacts with people, but then afterwards she just becomes another face for Peter to be tormented by, because it just runs through a whole bunch of Spider-Man characters that have died, that if you're a fan of the comics, you'll know. The problem is there's not really much set up beforehand to like show us. It very much expects you to have read the comics, because it is a fan film, which I get it. Most people watching this would probably be fans of Spider-Man, so they'll get, oh, that's George Stacy. Oh, that's Ned Leeds. Oh, hey, there's Uncle Ben. Like they'll get it. On the other hand, it is a bit more narratively satisfying when there's a setup and then a payoff to happen to it. So just kind of introducing this element out of nowhere without giving us a good, setup for it. Like if you look at the Spider-Man 4 opening, that sets up a lot, or Spider-Man PS4 opening, where we pan around Peter's apartment, that sets up a lot for the audience just visually of what's happened in this world. It already sets up Electro, Rhino, Shocker, Scorpion, Vulture as villains, and Kingpin as villains that exist, and we end up, there's a payoff to that setup because we end up meeting all of them in the story and having something to do with them.
Yeah,
so
that definitely sounds
really
a bit of a rough time for the script.
it really is, and it just, like, again, it just feels like a fan that wanted to hit all of the checklists for this is what a Spider-Man story should be.
Yeah, and then I guess that makes sense when you're trying to go back to that whole thing about rules and standards, that you shouldn't go about movies trying to achieve a checklist. You need to go about movies trying to leave an impact rather than having to meet standards to things.
And that, I mean, that's kind of like when you hit those checklists, it's kind of the problem that you see with a lot of other stuff. I mean, one of the biggest issues people kind of have with the current Spider-Man, with at least the current Peter Parker stuff, is it very much feels like editorials trying to hit their checklist of ideas and mandates that they have, or sorry, not mandates because they amended that, preferences for the character, and it doesn't come off as like it doesn't come off as a very entertaining or good story because it feels so artificial.
Right,
that
yeah.
These things have to happen because for some reason they must. That's what we like, or what we believe the character should be in our eyes, rather than letting the story get to that point. Like, there's nothing wrong with having like an idea of events or like a list of events in your movie that you want to hit, or like a list of narrative beats that you want to hit. But that comes with, okay, I'm making my story, and these are the big events or big moments that I want to get to, and now how do I get to it? Like, how do I a satisfying narrative to get to those moments? Rather than just we gotta hit it. Because the other part of it too is this is such a short thing, and it's trying to do so much. Like it's only like 70 or 80 pages of script, and like for a fan film, that's actually decently long. I think that would hopefully get to about an hour and like 20, depending on the execution of some scenes, and so that's decently long. It's not long enough to hit everything that that the script wants to hit, and so a lot of cutting could have been done, where I think you could have just cut pretty much everything else to do with the side characters in this. Like, just show us Gwen, Harry, and MJ at the beginning. Show us what happens with the death. There's Peter, and then cut right to Peter following up with the kid who collects comic books, and just go through that story, because I think that would just trim the fat off that's unnecessary, because there's not much really happening with Harry or MJ that's really all that engaging. It just feels like sad for sake of sad.
Yeah, it's more so trying it, like, you need to focus not on exactly the what's but the why of storytelling, and it's weird because you think that people would understand that whole mindset about you need to understand why everything's happening before to really get what's happening. But for some reason, it's just that some people just don't understand that for some, and we're kind of regressing when it comes to actually perceiving film and TV shows and other sorts of media.
Yeah, and it's just it's so weird. Like cutting down, knowing what scenes to cut and knowing when to change things is a big thing. Like I get 100% wanting to keep like certain scenes that you love, but this is partially why it's good to have someone outside of your regular circle.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Outside of your regular circle to look at your work, because then they like someone that doesn't know you as well and is just like, I need you to look at this and like what do I need to cut? What do I need to keep doing? Because you don't want to be surrounded by yes men.
Yeah.
In a sense, like this is exactly what you want. This is exactly what we should be doing. You want to have someone that is willing to take you down a peg and humble you.
Oh yeah.
So that you make as good of a product. And like communication is just key. Like it was one of the things that I loved James Gunn for posting. The absolute Chad man. This is why we love him. This is why we love him. Where he said, as the head of DC Studios, I give the script to people I trust, like my executive Chantal Nong or DC Comics writer Tom King, and get their thoughts about what works well and what works better, so I can improve the script. To paraphrase Stephen King, first draft, door closed. Second draft, door open. Writing is communication, so this is important. That's very true.
Right.
All that said, I've never, as a director, been given notes I was ordered to take, not from Universal or on Slither or from Marvel on the Guardians films, nothing. I've always tried to take the notes that will actually make the film better, and I argue about the ones I think won't work. This process has worked for me because I have been blessed in the partners I've chosen to work with. We're all moving towards one thing, making the movie better, and I can put my ego aside and be open when I need to be and convincing when I need to be. I know this is not the case for everyone, and it wasn't always the case for me as a writer. Again, I'm blessed in this way, but that's how notes work, and I'm not going to suddenly stop taking them because I'm the head of a studio, and that is like such a good
James Gunn's such a good guy. Like we love him. We love the man.
Like I love it, and it's very true, because you want to have someone you trust to go through that will bring you down a peg and will tell you when your stuff doesn't work, argue. And it's kind of a different thing where it's like, if someone else argues like really hard about it, then it must be something that like has merit in a sense.
Yeah.
It's like I'm really fighting for this idea because I think it actually will work. And so at that point, kind of like put it aside, put your ego aside, see how it does work, and like write it out, because there might be an idea that you don't think is going to be good until you get down and actually write it, and you're like, oh well, damn, this shit's actually cooking, like holy crap. And that's kind of the point, is put it aside and get through it. And I don't know if that was there for Gavin in this, because it doesn't read like a script that went through multiple drafts to me. Like it feels like he sat down, took as much time as it took to write it, and then was like, okay, here we go. And that's kind of sucks in a sense, because this was, a project that I think a lot of people might have been let down by this, if the controversy didn't happen, and all of the racism didn't happen, which, how, as you will. I still think a lot of people might have been disappointed by the execution.
I mean, that's fair. There was definitely a lot of hype around it.
Oh yeah, like I got the chance, actually. I watched a clip that leaked of Flash's monologue like a while ago, and before I read the script, and let me tell you, I was put off by it, but I didn't do anything, because I was like, okay, there's missing context. Okay, reading the script now and then remembering how it was done. Ooh.
Yeah, but I mean,
not good.
Overall, movies can be fun and still good, and don't adhere. Do not adhere too many types of rules. Do what the fuck you want, and
Exactly.
just survive and walk around it.
Yeah, get people you trust to come in and tell you when to do things, because the other thing I'll say is like the stories that he pulled from for this movie, not all three of them, or like they can work really well in concert. The problem is you might want to cut down on how many storylines you have going for, especially if you're gonna the way I see it, especially if you're gonna do the kid who collects comic books, because that's a one shot where it's just Peter and this kid in there going through different things. And you can tell a much more concise story that way, as you know, Peter's talking to this kid before he reveals everything to him and, you know, who he is. And it would hit a lot harder that this kid that, you know, spent his life basically terminal illness, knowing he's gonna die, gets, you know, hope from Spider-Man to live throughout, and now that kid is now inspiring Spider-Man to live again.
Yeah.
After the death of Stacy, and that could that's a really powerful story you could tell there. I don't think it was executed very well, but I encourage everyone to go find the leaked script, or if you want before it comes out. The movie's still supposed to come out.
Is it really?
Sometime. Yeah, but
I'm surprised by that, honestly.
I don't know how. Well, I mean, look, this man got donated $100,000.
Okay, yeah, you kind of have to give him at that point.
He's got to do it, otherwise he's like super screwed.
Yeah,
like,
no,
he's already screwed because of the messages, and people don't like to forget. Like, he's a young guy. There is, you know, he did this. He said all this stuff fairly recently, so it's a lot harder to forgive. You just can't. He's gonna have to do a lot to get his goodwill back.
Oh yeah.
But he's kind of screwed himself for this, and now his apology video wasn't much of an apology.
No, I seen that. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it was not much of an apology video, so not off to a great start.
He got some work to do, but honestly, I still want the movie to come out because, dude, just out of respect of all the people who worked on it.
Everyone else that, yeah. Like, everyone who didn't know, all the other actors that still brought their A game.
Oh, yeah.
To do this because they were passionate about the project. Like,
and with that, I think that is a good time to stop here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This was a kind of a crazy one, honestly.
Go check out all the links in the description that we'll have. I don't know which ones
we'll have that. I will definitely figure that out. Anyways, I'm gonna go play Project 06. Okay, bye.
Oh, yeah,
no.